Hey guys, Marisa at KitchenTableStamper.com. You're joining us in video number 2 of a 3-part series. This is our horse and sleigh Stamp-A-Stack. Now, it's a little bit different than our usual Stamp-A-Stack. If you're used to following us, you know that most of our Stamp-A-Stacks are based on Wonder recipes, which are one-sheet Wonder cutting diagrams for 6x6 paper. This time, we are keeping the good times rolling with our shortcut card sketches. So we just concluded our shortcut card sketch summer series on Friday. And those of you who have joined us for the summer sketch series, you have your binders. If you'd like to get the binder and the paper sampler that goes with it, there's still time. We are wrapping up the last round of our 2023-2024 annual catalog paper sampler. We will be doing a holiday catalog paper sampler, so don't worry. But if you've been on the fence and you want to get the paper sampler with the shortcut card sketch binder, there's still time. We're taking reservations, or we're taking registrations through July 20th, but keep in mind we have to do this in groups of 4. So first come, first serve. All right, so the shortcut card sketch binder has 6 laminated shortcut card sketches included in it. It comes with your sampler, and you can follow along with us through this series. We started our series with card number 1, this Sending Warmth Your Way card using shortcut card sketch number 1. Now we're going to move to shortcut card sketch number 6, and we are going to make this joyful card. So let's grab our sketch. If you're interested in more information, there's a link below to more information about the shortcut card sketch summer series and sampler. And if you'd like links to register, email Marisa at KitchenTableStamper.com. All right. Our horse and sleigh Stamp-A-Stack class packets will be available while supplies last. You'll get half a pack of festive pearls, your yard of linen thread, quarter of a pack of one horse open sleigh designer series paper. You also get your card kits. Let me get my class packet here and I'll show you. Get the cardstock that you need for stamping and die cutting. We don't stamp or die cut from the featured bundle. I'm featuring the brand new horse and sleigh bundle. This is an online exclusive from Stampin' Up. It was just released to public this month. We want our Lost Lagoon card kits. Your card kits will come in a basic white Stampin' Up envelope, and the die cutting, the basic die cutting, is done for you. And your class packet has enough materials to make 2 each of the cards. For presentation purposes, I'm just going to make 1. We're going to grab our Lost Lagoon card kits, our early espresso cardstock, and some basic white for stamping and die cutting. Now, in the bottom of your envelope are going to be these 2 little banner pieces. Don't lose them. We cut these ahead for you, and we used the All That dies. This is Poppy Parade, and this is Crumb Cake. Now, I'm going to put aside the Poppy Parade one. I don't need this because I have this die set. And if you'll notice on the card, I matted my little banner with a designer series paper banner. So, but in our preparation of this class packet for you, we had wondered if you don't have the All That dies and you still want that layered look, we would include the Poppy Parade banner for you to use for layering. Now, if you've got no All That dies, but you want the designer series paper look, you can take this little guy and a scrap from your last card, the first card in the series, and you can just trace it onto the designer series paper and cut. But we wanted to give you options in case you don't own that die set. If you like the look of the All That dies, you can buzz over to marisa.alvarez.stampinup.net and purchase these. You can shop Stampin' Up 24/7 there. Just click shop once you get there. All right, so let's slide aside some of these things and take a look at our sketch. Our sketch, shortcut card sketch number 6, starts with layer A, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So we have Lost Lagoon for that A layer. And then let's take a look at B. B is 4 cardstock or designer series paper pieces, all 1.5 inch squares. So right here, I have 4 designer series paper squares from the One Horse Open Sleigh designer series paper. I love the B sides of this paper. And this layout is a fantastic way to showcase lots of the designs and show how lovely they all work together. All right, so there's my 4 pieces. And then C, any shape of your choice. Well, for C, we're gonna use the deckled rectangle. We cut this one for you in case you're cutting your own packet from the deckled rectangles dies using Pool Party cardstock, and it is the 4th from the largest or the 5th from the smallest. It's approximately 2 5/8 by 4 if you're cutting something else to substitute. All right, now D is any shape of your choice, and we're not gonna mat the same way that the sketch did. We're going to instead stamp a background stamp. So instead of matting this piece, we're gonna stamp a background for some interest. And that's the point of our shortcut card sketches. It's to give you confidence to jump right in and start the process, to cut the paper and to get going. But it's not meant to be rigid. So you'll notice that we just eliminated D and brought in a background stamp instead. Now E is 1/2 by 2 3/4. And what we're gonna do with that is put these snowdrifts across the bottom of ours. You'll also notice that we went ahead and rotated the card sketch. So you can rotate, you can mirror, you can change, eliminate, add, and we're adding our sentiment with those little banners. So a couple little changes, but I think that you can definitely see the integrity of the sketch there and hopefully see the possibilities. Now we're going to ink our background with Versamark. This is the sketched plaid background, and you can do whatever background stamping you want here, or you can grab an embossing folder and put an emboss texture on your background. You can do what you have, or if you fall in love with something that I'm using here, links are below. All right, so we've covered our plaid with Versamark. We're gonna do the same plaid background on both copies of the card and on all 3 designs in the class. So if you're doing a Stamp-A-Stack, if you know our Stamp-A-Stacks, you know that my advice is to do all your backgrounds at once. This kit makes 6 cards, stamp all 6 backgrounds at once. And we did use Versamark for each of the designs. I like to burnish with my fingertips. That way we know that we didn't miss any of the design. We don't end up with a blank center. So really make sure you get the center and then all the way out to the edges. All right, lift. And there's our plaid. Isn't that gorgeous? Now you can set this with a heat tool if you want to move right on, or set it aside and let it dry. While that's drying, we're going to build our textures. So we've got our gorgeous plaid, and we're going to add some texture to our pool party. We're going to use the Timber 3D embossing folder. I love the plaid and the timber and the sleigh. It really has a cozy feel to it. You can, again, use whatever embossing folder you have here. Can switch, emboss the background and stamp, emboss the background and stamp this piece. Whatever makes you happy, that's your opportunity for creativity. All right, we're going to give this a crank and apply some of that gorgeous texture. And there it is, the timber, and stacked on top of that plaid. It's just a lovely combination, don't you think? All right, let's do some stamping. I love this horse and sleigh image. It's definitely steals the show. These would make some very beautiful, special Christmas and winter holiday cards. They actually color up pretty quickly if you keep the coloring kind of simple. And if you do the batch working that we talk about all the time in the kitchen table stamper, and you stamp all of your images and then you color all of your images. But even more than just color all of your images, you color the pecan pie areas of your image while you've got the pecan pie markers in your hand. You color the Lost Lagoon areas of the image while you've got the Lost Lagoon markers in your hand, and you just color all your images. These are very doable in multiples for the holiday. I'll show you how we're gonna color this up. Now you want to do one sleigh for each of your 2 cards. Love it. And I'm going to color with Stampin' Blends. I'm going to start with my real red, and we're going to do the sleigh. It's one of the rare times when I'll use the brush. I've got the light real red, and I'm going to fill in the sleigh with a light real red. And you just want to get a solid coverage here. I'm doing little ovals and working in the wet edge so you get a nice smooth red coat. Right, then I'm going to switch to the bullet point in my dark real red, and I'm just going to add a shadow down the back and then around the bottom edge there, and then across the bottom. That's it. Very simple. I don't want to do too complicated. Just where the light and the dark come together, give a little scribble, and then we're going to move on. I would color all my sleighs for all my card that way. Now we're going to move on to the hat. Add a little light real red and a dark shadow. Now that is our real red, so we'll set those aside and move on to pecan pie. And I'm going to color my horse next. Got the light pecan pie, and I'm going to work in sections, filling with the light. Then I'll add a little bit of dark over the speckle that the artist left down the back leg, maybe across the belly a little bit at where the harness meets, and then just swipe to combine. Then the back leg, we'll fill in the back leg with light, and then add a little shadow to the back leg with the dark, just down the back of the leg, and just touch to combine. Now we'll move on to the next section, which is right here between the 2 pieces of the harness or whatever this apparatus is. Can tell I've never hooked up a sleigh. All right, then we'll go to head and neck. Oops. And then I'll go down the back of the head, right below the mane, and then get this spot here where the artist drew a shadow, and then at the jaw. And then lastly, this bottom here. And that gives us time to blend the light and the dark shade together. If we were to color all the light and then try to go back to where we started, the ink wouldn't be wet enough to blend smoothly. You want to keep wet ink over wet ink as much as you can as you go. And so that's why we divide into sections. Now, I would do, if I was making 8 or 10 or 12 of these cards, I would color the entire pecan pie part of every horse. Let's get his little ear. And then move on to Pebbled Path. And the mane is going to be Pebbled Path, the mane and the tail. The hooves too. So we'll work in the tail first and just kind of swipe. And then we'll go from the base of the tail and flick. Then follow those lines that the artist drew and flick. And that is our tail. Similar with the mane, fill in, kind of flick. And then at the base, add a little shadow and then follow those lines that the artist drew, flick. For the hooves, I'm just going to do the light, fill in, and then down here, I'm not sure what this is, maybe the top of a pair of boots, maybe some pillows, I don't know, but I like Pebbled Path for it. Now let's move on to Wild Wheat. And I'm just going to take some light wild wheat and color the bridle and the harness. I'm just making those words up. Went out of the lines a little bit. That's what your color lifter is for. It doesn't lift the color, it pushes it back deeper into the cardstock. If you're not bleeding through the cardstock, you're not doing it right. That's how it works with alcohol markers. When you apply the color lifter, it pushes the color deeper into the cardstock. So it leaves the top layer of fibers and gets pushed back deeper. And so now you can't even tell I went out of the lines. Next, I've got Old Olive. We're gonna do the driver's coat. I'm avoiding this little kind of puffy shape in the middle here. Kind of think it looks like a muff. Like she might have her hands in a white fluffy muff. I think you can kind of make it up though, whatever you see in this kind of twist of lines. So I've got the driver's coat. Now we're gonna get the passenger's coat, avoiding that little puff right there in the middle. We're going to do her hat and coat, Lost Lagoon. And you'll see the artist gave us some shadowy lines down here, so let's draw down into them and then kind of follow the back edge. And these spots are so small, you probably won't even need to blend together much. Last, I've got a flesh tone. We've got 5 different combo packs, Stampin' Up, so you can choose whatever flesh tone you like. I've got SU 900, which is the lights combo pack. And now we're gonna die cut our sleigh and our snowdrifts and our bear tree. Isn't that bear tree cool? So my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is set up for die cutting. Let's get our sleigh lined up. What I'm going to do is push this all the way to the end, put the sleigh die, and we need 2 snowdrifts. So because I have all of my stamping for the second copy of my cards, which I'm not doing on film, I'm going to grab my snowdrifts and another piece of basic white cardstock from my kit. I'm going to pop that on the end here. And we're going to do the little snowdrift. We can put that one here. And the big snowdrift, we can put that one here. Make sure nothing's hanging off the edges. And let's give this a crank. Get everything all cut out. All right, we're not done quite yet. We've got our snowdrifts and our sleigh. Let's switch cardstock here, and we're gonna put the early espresso and the bear tree. Let's get one of those. You're gonna need one for each card. You'll have plenty of early espresso cardstock for your bear trees. I'm gonna go forward and back. Just make sure that the positive comes away from the negative real easy that way. You'll see we've got the coolest little bear tree here. You can run this through with a little bit of adhesive sheet on the back and make your trees self-adhesive if you like. I like to use a little bit of liquid glue. All right, we've got all these lovely pieces here. Oh, I forgot one thing. Let me just grab my scrap. This is one of the scraps from our first card, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut a designer series paper banner using all that dies. I like that you get 2 little banners in every pass. We're gonna put that on with our tree, but I almost forgot. That's okay though. We're gonna get that, and we'll have one for each card then. And I really love the way that the designer series paper looks matting our sentiment. And on top of it, we're just using the scraps from our last design, which is really a bonus too. I think that that's winning. All right, now we're ready to stamp our greeting. I did my greetings for this whole series with Early Espresso. And I've got my Stampin' Pierce mat. The greeting is joyful. And we're gonna put it just a little bit to the right of center so we have room to turn this into a tag. Isn't that a pretty font? All right, one for each card, don't forget. And if you're doing the Stamp a Stack style, then do all your greetings while you have your Early Espresso ink pad for all your cards. All right, that's gonna need a second to dry. I'm gonna get some liquid glue here. And we're going to adhere our designer series paper squares. For the designer series paper squares, I like to make sure your card opens the right way. I like to do either a strip or a bead of glue across the bottom of the card. Go about maybe an inch from the bottom and then about 3/4 of an inch in from either side. And you can then lay your pieces on to the glue as you go. But if you need to shift them, there's not a ton of glue to wrestle with because you're going to have these little squares kind of bop across. You can add a little bit more when you're getting closer to the end. But now at this point, you have room to say, okay, I think that crumb cake's too covered, so we can pull that out a little bit and slide it. And then that makes me want to slide this wood grain one a little bit. And you really have the flexibility there to move them. But then when you burnish them down, they're stuck there. All right, this is great glue for that. Or your seal adhesive would work very well too. Now we're gonna add our sky background. And that's gonna go a little high as center and then left to right centered. Next up is our tree. I like to kind of grab the center of the tree and then just use the glue to place dots all the way around the edges, just a little bit. Less is more. Once you got that, you can add it to your card base. And then we'll put some liquid glue on our snowdrifts. I'm going to put the short one down first, and then the wide one. And you notice that I haven't really pressed anything completely into place. I want to make sure I like my placement of everything before I go in and then just pat. Those little dots of glue will spread and stick, but might get a little sticky on your fingertips, but you don't have any glue ooze out anywhere, and your tree is glued down nice and flat. All right, let's switch gears back to our joyful now. It should be dry enough to handle. We're going to add a little liquid glue on the Designer Series paper banner. Mat the crumb cake one with the Designer Series paper one. Give that a second to dry while we add some dimensionals to the back of our sleigh. All right, cut up the dimensionals. That's the best way to use it. For the sleigh, I just took a little bit off the edge, and I'm going to cut it in half. Put one skinny strip on the reins, and put one skinny strip on the runner. Then I'll take some of these half dimensionals and support the horse and the sleigh with those. All right, let's peel these and get this sticky. And now we can add our sleigh to the card. I just love this image. What a pretty card, right? And right in the snow. Let's turn joyful into a tag. I've got a 1/8 inch circle punch here, and we are going to punch a hole, make a tag. Then you're going to grab your kit. You have 1 yard of linen thread in your kit. You'll have plenty for 2 of these cards with a bit left over. We're going to thread through the tag from front to back. Then, if you want to at this point, you can just tie over, under, right? You've got it secure now. And you can use a little strong adhesive to place this on your card. So in this case, I'm going to go with a couple of glue dots. All right, so there's our glue dots. We can place this where we want our greeting. Then you can turn the card. And the nice part now is this is secure to the card. So tying a bow is very easy. Your hands can hold the card, holds everything in place for you. Then you loop, swoop, tuck, and pull. Hold the center of the knot to adjust the size of the bow. And then just trim away from the loop and clean up the loose end. And there is your joyful tag with its cute little bow. Our last step here is to embellish. You're going to get a half a pack of these festive pearls, and I am going to, I don't know what color I want to use with this. We use gold on the original. Let's get really festive with these red ones. I love these red ones. And we're just going to sprinkle them into the design wherever you like. You can use 5, 6 on each card. You'll have plenty, maybe for even some more. There it is. There's our joyful shortcut card sketch number 6. If you guys have any questions about the shortcut card sketches or how to get your shortcut card sketch binder with our sampler and summer sketch series, if you have questions about the class packet, the Stampin' Stack class itself, you can email Marisa at kitchentablestamper.com. To see if we still have optional class packets available, buzz over to kitchentablestamper.com/shop. And when you get there, filter for class packets. You'll find the filter in the right-hand menu or down below if you're on a mobile device. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you in video number 3, where we'll make Wishing You a Season of Cheer. Thanks for watching.